Yes, good evening, Ashish, Anshul, Priyanshu, Sagar, Ash, Harsh, Jainam, very good, Chirag, Alfez, Lipika. Okay, perfect, beta. So, yes, good evening. Yeah, Usman, good evening, beta. Afzal, good evening, beta. Kiran, good evening. I hope the audio and visuals are perfectly fine, beta. Just give me a thumbs up in the chat box. The audio and visuals are perfectly fine. Yeah, good evening, beta. So just give me a thumbs up in the chat box. Aditya, good evening, beta. Good evening. राम राम रौनक. अभी मेरे आने से पहले मैं चैट्स पढ़ रहा था कौन कहाँ से है, मतलब क्या मिलता है किससे से कौन सा सुख मिलता है ये सब पूछने से. हम्म. मुझसे तो आज तक नहीं पूछा कि सर आप कहाँ से हो, इंडिया में कहाँ से हो, कैसे है. मुझसे तो कभी नहीं पूछ रहे आप. कोई बात नहीं, सब अपने अपने चल वेरी गुड गाइस, लेट अस जस्ट स्टार्ट. यस. यस, वेलकम वेलकम. कोई बात नहीं, अब क्या फायदा अल्फेज, अब तो मैंने बता दिया ना. अब चलो आज बेटा टॉपिक स्टार्ट करेंगे. बिफोर स्टार्टिंग विद द टॉपिक आई वांट एवरी वन ऑफ यू टू गिव मी अ थम्स अप इन द चैट बॉक्स कि या द ऑडियो एंड विजुअल्स आर परफेक्टली फाइन सो दैट आई कैन स्टार्ट विद द क्लास, राइट. जस्ट गिव मी अ थम्स अप इन द चैट बॉक्स. चलिए. ओके, परफेक्ट. जयनाम, आदित्य, अल्फेज, आशीष, हर्ष. Yes, Carlos, Ronak, very good, beta. So today we are going to start with gluconeogenesis. Today we are going to start with gluconeogenesis. Yes, today we are going to start with gluconeogenesis. Now, beta, you already know gluconeogenesis. चलो पहले इसको ब्रेक करके देखते हैं. What is the meaning of this particular name? What is the meaning of this particular name? So remember, beta, when we say gluco means glucose. Okay, gluco means glucose. Okay, neo means new, and genesis means formation. Okay, genesis means formation. Okay, so yes, in simple words, beta, in simple words I can write this as the formation of new glucose. Okay, it is the formation of new glucose. Raj Patel, good evening, beta. Formation of new glucose. Okay, formation of new glucose. Now when I say formation of new glucose, beta, this glucose, it is not coming from carbohydrate. Earlier when I was discussing the carbohydrate metabolism, I have already told you that we are consuming disaccharides, right? Lactose, sucrose. Now these disaccharides, these are what? Carbohydrates only, disaccharides. We have different types of carbohydrates: monosaccharides, disaccharides, oligosaccharides, polysaccharides, right? So in the diet form, in the diet, basically we are consuming the disaccharides, right? Now these disaccharides are breaking down into monosaccharides. Monosaccharides means the glucose, right? Now there is formation of new glucose. Beta, I have introduced a term new over here. It means that this glucose, it is not coming from carbohydrate. Okay, this glucose, it is not coming from carbohydrate. So remember, beta, it is formation of glucose. Again, trying to complete my definition, it is formation of glucose, formation of glucose from non-carbohydrate. Okay, from non-carbohydrate source, from non-carbohydrate source. Now, okay, from non-carbohydrate source. So you guys already know that non-carbohydrates, okay, it is not carbohydrate, beta, it is coming from somewhere else right now. It is coming from somewhere else right now. So yeah, the sources, beta, that you have to remember over here from where we can get glucose. Okay, so the very first one that you have to remember, it is amino acids. Amino acid. Amino acid, it is not a carbohydrate. You already know amino acid, it is not a carbohydrate. You are very well aware of that. How many amino acids are there? I want this answer in the chat box from everyone. Yes, I want this answer in the chat box from everyone. Yeah, how many amino acids are there बेटा? जल्दी से बताइए फटाफट. हाँ, आदित्य, very good. संजय, very good. There are 20 amino acids. प्रोटीन का बेसिक यूनिट क्या है? अमीनो एसिड से. And you already know. Yes, Anshul, very good. Kiran, Chirag, very good beta, very good. Ria, Jainam, Raj, Usman. Yeah, we have types of amino acids, essential and non-essential. Yes. So we already know that there are 20 amino acids. And remember beta, out of 20 amino acids, okay, out of 20 amino acids, okay, like yeah, only 18 amino acids, okay, only 18 amino acids have ability, yes, have ability to form glucose, to form glucose, okay, except two, except two. And remember, these two amino acids, okay, these two amino acids are leucine and lysine. Again, this is an important question for the exam. This is leucine and lysine. These two amino acids cannot form glucose. Okay, out of 20 beta, only 18. Okay, only 18 amino acids have the ability to form glucose except two. Now, this exception you have to remember, rest all will be able to form glucose. Now, beta, you are very well aware when I say non-carbohydrate. So you are automatically aware of the fact that amino acid, it is not a carbohydrate. We are getting glucose from amino acid. We are getting glucose from amino acid. So amino acid is a non-carbohydrate source. Okay. Amino acid is a non-carbohydrate source. Now, coming on to the second one, what is the second non-carbohydrate source? Yes, we will see each and everything how from amino acid glucose is formed. Just I'm giving you an example right now. Like, yeah, what all we have to study in gluconeogenesis. What all we have to study in gluconeogenesis. Okay. आपको पता है कि अगर maltose है, sucrose है, they are disaccharide, they are carbohydrates only. When they will break, they will form glucose, right? They will form glucose. So carbohydrate, okay, basically it is the glucose is coming from carbohydrate, but here in gluconeogenesis, the carbohydrate, it is not coming from, yeah, the glucose, it is not coming from carbohydrate. These are amino acids. The next one, it is lactic acid. Lactic acid. Now, my question to everyone over here, in which glycolysis lactic acid is formed? In which glycolysis lactic acid is formed? And I want every one of you to answer this question because we have already discussed in the previous, yeah. चलो फटाफट से आंसर दे दो. चलो फटाफट से आंसर बताओ. कौन से ग्लाइकोलिसिस में? यस, कोमल चौधरी, वेरी गुड बेटा. इट इज एनएरोबिक ग्लाइकोलिसिस. Perfect, perfect, Sanjay. Perfect. Fastest, yeah, fastest answer given by Komal. Kulsum, yeah, very good. Chirag, Ashish, Amira, Aditya, Anshul, very good, beta. Yes, very good. Everyone is right, beta. It is lactic acid, yeah, or we can say lactate that is coming from anaerobic glycolysis. Now imagine, beta, lactic acid, okay? So this lactic acid is also used to generate glucose. We will see how. Okay, we will see how. I will discuss all the reactions in detail. The third one, beta, it is pyruvic acid. Pyruvic acid, or we commonly call it as pyruvate. Pyruvate. Now, pyruvate is a dash carbon compound. How many carbons are there in pyruvate? I want the answers in the chat box, beta. Glucose has 6 carbons. Glucose has 6 carbons. How many carbon atoms are present in pyruvate? Yes, Abrar, very good. Sanjay, very good. It is 3 carbon atoms. Harsh, Aditya, Anshul, very good. Very good, very good. Mr. H. Komal, Mericure, Kulsum, Chirag, Lipika, Raj, Farha, Usman, Jainam, Zaid, Ash, Priyanshu. इसी तरीके से आंसर करते रहा करो. Even I like this way of no interacting with me. Yeah, Shubham, very good, beta. And the fourth one, beta. And the fourth one, we have glycerol. Okay. From glycerol also, okay, from glycerol also, you can get, okay, you can get what? Glucose. You can get glucose. So glycerol, it is a non-carbohydrate source. Okay, lactic acid, it is not a carbohydrate. Pyruvic acid or pyruvate, it is not a carbohydrate. Glycerol, it is not a carbohydrate. Amino acid, it is not a carbohydrate. So yeah, there is formation of glucose from non-carbohydrate source, and that is why it is termed as the new glucose that is formed. New glucose that is formed. Now coming on to the next concept, beta. Coming on to the next concept, that why there is a need of gluconeogenesis. Okay. So yes, coming on to the concept, beta. Already we have discussed the definition. Okay, we have discussed the definition, and along with the definition, we have discussed the examples, like from where we can get the new glucose, right? Now, we will talk about the concept why there is, yeah, we will talk about the concept why there is a need of, yeah, glucose. Chal, concept, yeah, concept. So the question is why body needs gluconeogenesis? Why body needs gluconeogenesis? Why body needs gluconeogenesis? बॉडी में ग्लूकोनियोजेनेसिस की क्यों नीड है? Why there is a need of gluconeogenesis? Does anyone would like to answer this question? I want anyone of you to answer this question. चल, now beta, you already know we have a state that is called as fed state. Fed state, it is usually 1 to 4 hours after food. 1 to 4 hours after food, right? It is usually 1 to 4 hours after food, right? Ha, panda, yes, some of the things is right, yes. Then beta, we have early fasting. Early fasting. Now, when I say early fasting, beta, I am talking about 4 to 16 hours. Okay, 4 to 16 hours after food, right? And then we have a stage that is called as fasting or the late fasting, like fasting. And remember, it is 16 to 48 hours. 16 to 48 hours. 16 to 48 hours. Now बेटा, चलो तीनों में देखते हैं कि क्या क्या हो सकता है. Use your brains and tell me बेटा. Fed state. जस्ट आपने अभी फुल मील खाया है, फुल 2 आलू के परांठे अभी जस्ट तुरंत खाए हो, so that is something that you will get glucose. Okay, that is 1 to 4 hours after food. So yes guys, it is like the normal fed state. You are getting the glucose from diet. You are getting glucose from diet, right? Now, early fasting, you already know whenever you are taking diet beta, okay, some glucose will be utilized to give energy, some glucose will be utilized to give energy, and some glucose beta, some glucose will be stored as glycogen, because glucose ज़्यादा हो गई है body में, so it will be stored as glycogen. And you already know glycogen, it is the storage form of glucose. It is the storage form of glucose. ओके, कि जब ग्लूकोज की नीड होगी तब ग्लाइकोजन ब्रेक डाउन होके क्या बना देगा? ग्लूकोज. नाउ कैन एनीवन टेल मी द फॉर्मेशन ऑफ ग्लाइकोजन फ्रॉम ग्लूकोज, व्हिच प्रोसेस इज दिस? द फॉर्मेशन ऑफ ग्लाइकोजन फ्रॉम ग्लूकोज. Yes, everyone is right. Yeah, the formation of glycogen from glucose. Which process is this, beta? चलिए आंसर दीजिए फटाफट. नहीं पांडा, ग्लाइकोजन का बनना ग्लूकोज से, ग्लाइकोजन बन रहा है ना बेटा, एनीथिंग विच इज फॉर्म्ड इट इज कॉल्ड जेनेसिस, it is called genesis. Yes, so it will be, yes, everyone is right. Abrar, yes. Yasir, Raj, Ashish, Panda, yes, correct beta. Nikita, very good beta. It is glycogenesis. Okay, glycogenesis, yes, formation of glycogen. Now, in 4 to 16 hours, that is called as early fasting. You are not having food like after 4 hours, right? Okay, so you are not kumkaran right now, I hope so. So 4 to 16 hours after food, it is called as the early fasting. And what will happen when you are not taking any glucose from the diet? You are not having any diet right now, 4 to 16 hours. Okay. What will happen? This glycogen will break. Yes, this glycogen will break. Okay. Whatever glycogen was stored, this will break and will give energy. So this is called as, yes, yeah, 4 to 16 hours food. What will be there? Glycogenolysis will be there. Glycogenolysis will be there. जो ग्लाइकोजन बॉडी में स्टोर था, जो ग्लाइकोजन बॉडी में स्टोर था बेटा, वो ब्रेक डाउन करेगा टू प्रोवाइड द ग्लूकोज. ओके, 4 to 16 आवर्स जब आपने कोई खाना नहीं खाया, you haven't taken any diet beta, what will happen? The glycogen which was formed, now it will break. Okay, now it will be broken down to release glucose to provide energy, and that is called as glycogenolysis. That is called as glycogenolysis. ग्लाइकोजन ब्रेक करेगा तभी क्या बनेगा? ग्लाइकोजन से क्या बन जाएगा? ग्लूकोज बन जाएगा, और वही ग्लूकोज एटीपी बनाएगा. तो ऑब्वियसली बात है, हमें बॉडी को नीड्स मिलती रहेंगी. दैट इज द अर्ली फास्टिंग स्टेज. दैट इज द अर्ली फास्टिंग स्टेज. नाउ व्हेन आई से फास्टिंग बेटा, फास्टिंग में ना तो अब ग्लाइकोजन बचा है, ग्लाइकोजन भी खत्म, ग्लूकोज भी खत्म, एंड यू आर नॉट कंज्यूमिंग एनी डाउट एनी डाइट. यू आर नॉट टेकिंग एनी डाइट बेटा. नाउ फ्रॉम वेयर द ग्लूकोज विल कम नाउ? You already know the source of blood glucose will be what? Tell me in the chat box beta. The source of blood glucose. Yes, source of blood glucose will be, yeah, it will be coming from gluconeogenesis. Okay, source of blood glucose will be the non-carbohydrate source. Okay, and yes, glucose will be synthesized from that, and that is called as gluconeogenesis. So this will be the new glucose, and this new glucose, it is not coming from carbohydrate, क्योंकि ना तो आप डाइट ले रहे हो, you are not taking diet. Okay, there is no glycogen in the body. There is no glycogen in the body because glycogen भी खत्म हो गया 16 hours तक. 16 hours के बाद भी अगर आप डाइट नहीं लेते हैं बेटा, what will happen? There is another way of the body to produce new glucose, and that is called as gluconeogenesis. And that is why beta, in fasting state from 16 to 48 hours, when you are taking no diet, okay, to maintain the blood glucose levels of the body, gluconeogenesis is required. Okay, when there is no carbohydrate to be broken down, so this glucose will be synthesized from non-carbohydrate source, which I have already told you, and ultimately new glucose will be formed. New glucose will be formed. क्या ये इतना समझ में आ गया सब लोगों को? चलो फटाफट से एक थम्स अप दे दो बेटा, जल्दी से, अगर ये तुम लोग को समझ आ गया है तो. जल्दी से, अगर तुम लोग को समझ आ गया, फटाफट से एक थम्स अप दे दो चैट बॉक्स में, जल्दी से. चलिए फटाफट. चलो, आशीष, शुभम, कुलसुम, अंशुल, जयनाम, आदित्य, हर्ष, कोमल, ऐश, वेरी गुड. लिपिका, पांडा, राज पटेल, वेरी गुड. रिया, चलो परफेक्ट 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 बेटा. अफसल, वेरी गुड वेरी गुड. चलो, हमने कंसेप्ट सीख लिया कि ग्लूकोनियोजेनेसिस क्यों चाहिए हमें. ठीक है, तो फैटी एसिड्स होते हैं, यू ऑलरेडी नो द, या ग्लूकोनियोजेनेसिस also requires ATP beta, और ATP कहां से आता है? That is beta oxidation of fatty acids. That is beta oxidation of fatty acids. Right? So we will learn each and every step one by one. We will learn each and every step one by one. Okay. And now let us. We have discussed the concept, definition, example. Now coming on to the site. Now coming on to the sites beta. The site or the location. The site or the location. Now, gluconeogenesis takes place only in two sites. Okay, there is only two sites, only in matlab na, only two sites are there beta, only two sites are there. And remember, these two sites, these two sites are liver and kidney. These two sites are liver and kidney. Gluconeogenesis, it is taking place, yes, it is taking place in the liver and kidney, yes. And you already know, liver, it is 90% of gluconeogenesis, okay, takes place in the liver. 10% of only it takes place in the kidney, okay, takes place in the kidney. Now beta, remember that if we say the gluconeogenesis, so gluconeogenesis, now can anyone tell me, yes, can anyone tell me in the chat box, gluconeogenesis will take place in which part of the cell? Gluconeogenesis will take place in which part of the cell? I want everyone to answer this question in the chat box. Yes, the gluconeogenesis, yeah, it will take place in both cytosol, yeah, both cytosol and mitochondria. Both cytosol and mitochondria. Both cytosol and mitochondria. Yes, Kriti. Yes, Yasir. Very good. Very good. Everyone is right. Panda, Kriti, Ash, Usman. Very good. Farah Sheikh. Very good, beta. Raj Patel. Very, very good, beta. So you are already aware that this gluconeogenesis, it is operating in cytoplasm also and mitochondria also, right? The two sites that you have to remember from the exam point of view, it is liver. 90% it is taking place in the liver, and kidney it is 10%. Kidney it is 10%. Is it clear, everyone? Is it clear, everyone? Fatafat se thumbs up de do. If the site and yeah, the organelles are clear, if the site and organelles are clear to each and everyone. Harsh says, yes, sir, it's clear. Abrar, yes, Kulsum Abrar, very good, beta. Jainam, Aditya, Ashish, very good. Usman, Farah Sheikh, yes, Ash, Afzal, Riyad, Shubham, Nikita, okay, Lipika, Anshu. चलो reactions देख लेते हैं हम. Site हो गया, organelles हो गए, concept हो गया, definition, example. चलो order में चलते हैं. Now we will start with the reaction. और रिएक्शन सबसे इजी है, इसकी तो मैं मानता हूं सबसे इजी है, क्योंकि आप लोगों ने ग्लाइकोलिसिस पढ़ रखी है, आप लोगों ने ग्लाइकोलिसिस पढ़ रखी है, तो यू गाइस आर विल बी द वन हु विल गाइड मी हाउ द ग्लाइकोलिसिस ऑपरेट. और इसी ग्लाइकोलिसिस को मैं अगर रिवर्स करूंगा, इफ आई रिवर्स, यू हैव ऑलरेडी सीन, ओके, नॉर्मल ग्लाइकोलिसिस में क्या होता है बेटा, यू ऑलरेडी नो. इफ वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट नॉर्मल एरोबिक ग्लाइकोलिसिस, एरोबिक ग्लाइकोलिसिस, ग्लाइकोलिसिस का मतलब होता है ब्रेकडाउन ऑफ ग्लूकोज, breakdown of glucose to release ATP. Yes, breakdown of glucose to release ATP. You already know glucose will be converted into pyruvate. Glucose will be converted into pyruvate. And this is something which is called as aerobic glycolysis, which is taking place in the presence of oxygen and mitochondria. ठीक है, aerobic glycolysis बोलने का मतलब यही है बेटा, it is taking place in the presence of oxygen and mitochondria. It is taking place in the, yeah, oxygen and mitochondria, right? Now again beta, now there is formation. अब हमें glucose बनाना है. Now what we have to do, we have to form glucose and from non-carbohydrate source. So we already know we have a lot of pyruvate there. So from pyruvate, if again glucose will be formed, okay, so that is something, pyruvate, it is a non-carbohydrate source, non-carbohydrate source, right? So yes, from pyruvate glucose is formed, and this is gluconeogenesis, this is gluconeogenesis, right? This is gluconeogenesis. तो हमने ग्लूकोज से पायरुवेट पढ़ा था, हाउ द पायरुवेट इज फॉर्म्ड फ्रॉम द ग्लूकोज. नाउ वी हैव टू रिवर्स द साइकिल, वी जस्ट हैव टू रिवर्स द साइकिल सो दैट we can get, okay, the glucose from the pyruvate, the glucose from the pyruvate. Now beta, you already know. चलो पहले नॉर्मल ग्लाइकोलिसिस देख लेते हैं. नॉर्मल ग्लाइकोलिसिस देख लेते हैं क्योंकि मैंने ये पढ़ाया हुआ है, तो आप लोग मुझे आंसर करते जाएंगे। ग्लाइकोलिसिस देख लेते हैं। जो लोग नए बच्चे हैं बेटा, प्लीज गो थ्रू द प्रीवियस लेक्चर्स आल्सो, ओके। All the lectures are there on the YouTube. All the lectures are there on the YouTube, right? So kindly go through all the lectures. Yes. Chalo. Now glycolysis may you already know we have glucose. We have glucose. Now this glucose, it is breaking, okay. It is forming glucose 6 phosphate. चलो बताते जाओ, ग्लूकोज 6 फॉस्फेट से क्या बनेगा? ग्लूकोज 6 फॉस्फेट से क्या बनेगा? फ्रक्टोज 6 phosphate, fructose 6 phosphate, right? Fructose 6 phosphate, right? You already know from fructose 6 phosphate, it is दो जगह, you already know, yeah, two places the phosphate will get added. It is fructose 1,6 biphosphate, fructose 1,6 biphosphate, right? Yes, fructose 1,6 biphosphate. Yes, this fructose 1,6 biphosphate, it will, yeah, everyone is right. Yes, it will break down into dihydroxyacetone phosphate and glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate. This glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate will form 1,3 bisphosphoglycerate. Okay, from 1,3 bisphosphoglycerate, 3 phosphoglycerate will be formed. Then what will happen? 2 phosphoglycerate will be formed. Phosphoenol pyruvate will be formed. And what will be formed? Yes, ultimately pyruvate will be formed. Ultimately pyruvate will be formed. You already know dihydroxyacetone phosphate gets converted to glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate with the help of isomerase enzyme. This whole reaction I have discussed in detail beta in the previous video. तो बिल्कुल घबराने की जरूरत नहीं है. Those students are new can just watch this video, okay? It is there on the YouTube. I have already discussed this glycolysis. So you already know we have glucose, and from the glucose what is formed? Pyruvate. From the glucose what is formed? Pyruvate. इतना क्लियर है सब लोगों को? अभी तक जो पढ़ाया है, it is clear to each and everyone beta? Just give me a thumbs up in the chat box if it is clear to each one of you. Yeah, if it is clear to each one of you, just give me a thumbs up in the chat box. Yes, Ashish, very good. Abrar, very good. Lipika, very good. चलो, जयनाम, very good. अब इसी को रिवर्स कर दो बेटा. इसी को रिवर्स कर देते हैं. इसी को रिवर्स कर देते हैं. Yes. इसी को रिवर्स कर देते हैं बेटा. चलो, मैंने इसलिए लिखा है ताकि यू गाइज आर वेरी वेल अवेयर कि हो क्या रहा है एक्चुअल में. पाइरुवेट से अब मुझे बनाना है ग्लूकोज. तो सबसे पहली बात बेटा, अब मैं इस रिएक्शन को उल्टा चलाऊंगा. ओके, इस रिएक्शन को मैं उल्टा चलाऊंगा. तो let us just draw the mitochondria बेटा. Okay, let us just draw the mitochondria. क्योंकि मैंने बोला था this reaction takes place in the mitochondria and yes, this reaction takes place in the mitochondria as well as the cytoplasm. So yes beta, so this area, it is the mitochondria. Okay, this is the mitochondria, right? This area, it is the mitochondria, and this area, okay, which I will be marking right now over here, yes, this will be the cytoplasm. This will be the cytoplasm. This will be the cytoplasm. So you already know the cell has mitochondria also and cytoplasm also. The cell has mitochondria also and cytoplasm also. So let us now start, because we have already discussed over here key one source is pyruvate. Okay, one source of glucose, it is coming from pyruvate. So let us take this pyruvate, okay, and see how the glucose is formed. Already I have told you I will just reverse the reactions beta. I will just reverse the reactions, nothing much I will change over here. So remember beta, the pyruvate, yes, yeah, remember beta, the pyruvate, okay, the pyruvate, it is a 3 carbon compound. Okay, it is a 3 carbon compound. Now in the mitochondria, the pyruvate, it is converted to, okay, the pyruvate, it is converted to, yes, oxaloacetate. The pyruvate, it is converted to oxaloacetate. Okay, oxaloacetate, you already know it is a 4 carbon compound. और मैंने कल बताया भी था आप लोगों को, in the mitochondria there is presence of oxaloacetate. There is presence of oxaloacetate. So देखो 3 carbon से 4 carbon बन रहा है. We are adding one more carbon beta. So that is something which is called as, yes, that is something which is called an enzyme which is called as pyruvate carboxylase. Whenever we are adding one more carbon, it is carboxylase. Pyruvate carboxylase. Pyruvate carboxylase. Okay. And in the, yes, it is taking place, yes, with the help of a vitamin, that is biotin. Now I want every one of you to tell me biotin. Biotin is which vitamin beta? Biotin, it is which vitamin which is helping in the conversion of pyruvate to oxaloacetate. Biotin का बताओ molecular formula क्या है, मतलब क्या है? B1 है, 2 है, 5 है, 7 है, क्या है बायोटिन? चलो फटाफट से ये देख के बताओ. Now this oxaloacetate, remember beta, this oxaloacetate will convert into malate. Okay, this oxaloacetate will convert into malate. Yes, and that too with the help of an enzyme. Yes, that too with the help of an enzyme, that is malate dehydrogenase. Yeah, we have malate dehydrogenase. Malate dehydro. Okay, dehydro. Okay, I'll just write it nicely so that you don't complain. Yeah, malate dehydrogenase. Yes, it is. ऋत्विक, क्या हाल है ऋत्विक? अब तो तुम डॉक्टर बन गए हो. मैलेट डिहाइड्रोजनेस, अब तो तुम डॉक्टर बन गए हो ऋत्विक, कंग्रेट्स. चलो, malate dehydrogenase, from oxaloacetate malate is formed, right? And this malate beta, now this malate will enter, into the cytoplasm. Okay, this malate will enter into the cytoplasm. Now this malate, okay, will again convert into oxaloacetate in the cytoplasm. Oxaloacetate पहले कहाँ था? Yes, oxaloacetate was there in the mitochondria. अब oxaloacetate जो बन रहा है, that is in the cytoplasm. Okay, and again the enzyme that will be used over here, it will be malate dehydrogenase. Okay, it will be malate dehydrogenase. I'm not writing again and again MDH लिख रहा हूँ, ये गरम मसाला नहीं है MDH का, it is malate dehydrogenase. Okay, yes, you guys will tell me बेटा, you guys will tell me biotin क्या है. चलो मैं थोड़ा सा हिंट दे देता हूँ. बायोटिन हम लोग या थोड़ा हेयर फॉल के लिए भी वो कर रहे हैं आजकल, बायोटिन के टैबलेट्स वगैरह लेते हैं. चलो बता दो अब क्या है. ये तो मैं नहीं बताऊंगा, ये तो मैं मान के चलता हूँ कि तुम लोग को आता हो. अरे वाह संजय, वेरी गुड बेटा. नाउ दिस oxaloacetate will convert into, okay, this oxaloacetate will convert into phosphoenol pyruvate. Phosphoenol pyruvate. Yes, this oxaloacetate will convert into phosphoenol pyruvate. Now beta, you already know phosphoenol pyruvate हम कौन सी रिएक्शन पे आ गए, वापस इसी रिएक्शन पे आ गए. If you can see over here, phosphoenol pyruvate से क्या बन रहा था, पाइरुवेट. एंड अब देखो रिवर्स चलानी है साइकिल. देख लो, पाइरुवेट से हम क्या बना लिया हम लोगों ने, फॉस्फोइनॉल पाइरुवेट. पाइरुवेट से क्या बना लिया, फॉस्फोइनॉल पाइरुवेट. नाउ यू गाइस आर गोइंग टू आंसर मी. ओके, फ्रॉम oxaloacetate phosphoenol pyruvate is formed. Phosphoenol pyruvate, it is formed. Yes, remember the enzyme over here that is used, it is phosphoenol pyruvate carboxylase. Phosphoenol pyruvate carboxylase, right? Yes. Now you guys are going to tell me phosphoenol pyruvate से क्या बनेगा. Okay, phosphoenol pyruvate से क्या बनेगा, चलो जल्दी से बताओ. साइकिल को रिवर्स करना है बेटा, साइकिल को रिवर्स करना है, जल्दी से बताओ phosphoenol pyruvate से क्या बनेगा. साइकिल देखो और उसको रिवर्स कर दो बेटा, साइकिल देखो और उसको रिवर्स कर दो. यस आशीष, वेरी गुड, इट इज 2 phosphoglycerate. very good beta. Ashish, Harsh, Aditya, very good beta. From phosphoenol pyruvate we will get 2-phosphoglycerate. अब 2-phosphoglycerate से क्या बन जाएगा? 3-phosphoglycerate, right? 3-phosphoglycerate. From 3-phosphoglycerate, now this reaction is important. From 3-phosphoglycerate, yes, Raj Patel, Lipika, Nisha, Dhoni, very good beta. From 3-phosphoglycerate, what will be formed beta? 1,3 by, yeah, 1,3 bisphosphoglycerate. Bisphosphoglycerate. 1,3 bisphosphoglycerate. 1,3 bisphosphoglycerate. 1,3 BPG बिसफॉस्फोग्लिसरेट दिखाई दे रहा है ना सबको? 1,3 बिसफॉस्फोग्लिसरेट, उसके नीचे मैं नहीं लिखूंगा, जस्ट सी 1,3 बिसफॉस्फोग्लिसरेट. Over here beta, you have to remember one enzyme, and that is again very important, beta. Yes, yeah, okay, you already know this enzyme. Yeah, you already know this enzyme. From 3-phosphoglycerate, 1,3 bisphosphoglycerate, it is kinase. Okay, it is kinase beta. Okay, kinase is there. Yeah, inorganic phosphate is coming, 1,3 bisphosphoglycerate, right? Now you already know. Now tell me beta, this 1,3 bisphosphoglycerate, okay, will, okay, now it will divide into two parts beta. Tell me. अब देखो ये 1,3 बिसफॉस्फोग्लिसरेट है, तो ये दो चीजें बनाएगा, या दो मॉलिक्यूल्स किसके बना देगा? ये ग्लिसरेल्डिहाइड 3 फॉस्फेट के. यस, yes, everyone is right. 1,3 bisphosphoglycerate, it will form glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate, right? So over here, yes, it will form dihydroxyacetone phosphate, glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate. Dihydroxyacetone phosphate, with the help of enzyme isomerase, will get converted into glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate. So how many glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate will we have right now? How many will be there? Yeah, tell me the number beta. How many, yeah, will be the glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate? Yes, Kusum, very good. तो अब मैं बार बार नहीं लिख रहा, so you should be very much aware बेटा कि yes, चलो मैं लिख देता हूँ glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate, okay, and we have dihydroxyacetone phosphate. ठीक है, ये तो चलो सबको समझ आता है. Now this dihydroxyacetone phosphate, okay, it is, yeah, getting converted to glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate only. Glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate only. Yeah, we have now two molecules. Glyceraldehyde is, it is a 3 carbon molecule, right? Now this glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate, it will form fructose 1,6 biphosphate. Fructose 1,6 biphosphate. Yes, everyone is right. Anshul, Ash, very good, beta. Okay, Sandeep, thank you so much. Thank you, Sandeep, so much. Yeah. Now this glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate, Sandeep was my batchmate when I was a student. So now this glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate, it will form, yes, fructose 1,6 biphosphate. Fructose 1,6 biphosphate. Now this fructose 1,6 biphosphate will form fructose, ऊपर चलाते जाओ बेटा, ऊपर चलाते जाओ, fructose 6 phosphate. Fructose 6 phosphate, it will form glucose 6 phosphate. Glucose 6 phosphate, and ultimately what will be formed? Glucose. Ultimately what will be formed? Glucose. So beta, you can see over here that, yeah, the pyruvate, we have started our reaction from pyruvate. Pyruvate, it is a non-carbohydrate. ये carbohydrate तो है नहीं, okay? So pyruvate, it is a non-carbohydrate source, and from pyruvate we are able to generate glucose, and that is something which is called as gluconeogenesis. Gluconeogenesis. हमने glucose से pyruvate बनाया था. We have done nothing beta. इसी pyruvate को I have just reversed all the reactions and I will get glucose. I have reversed all the reactions and I got, yes, the glucose. Over here beta, you have to remember, yes, you have to remember two more enzymes that are very important. Two more enzymes that are important, and that is only that I want my students to remember. Yes, from fructose 1,6 bisphosphate to fructose 6 phosphate, to fructose 6 phosphate. An enzyme that is used, it is called as, okay, fructose 1,6 bisphosphatase. बेटा वी आर रिमूविंग वन फॉस्फेट, तो इसलिए हम इसको बिस्फॉस्फेटेस बोलेंगे. वी आर रिमूविंग वन फॉस्फेट. फ्रक्टोज 1,6 से फ्रक्टोज 6. पहले you already know we have 6 carbons in the fructose. Okay, we have 6 carbons in the fructose. So to the first and the sixth carbon, phosphate group is added. Now fructose 6 phosphate, what is there beta? Only to the sixth carbon phosphate is added. Only to the sixth carbon phosphate is added. One phosphate is removed, and that is why the name bisphosphatase. Okay, bisphosphatase. Okay, and beta. Okay, tell me the enzyme which will be used over here to convert glucose 6 phosphate to glucose. Now I want everyone to name this enzyme. I have already told one, and I want everyone to tell from glucose 6 phosphate to glucose. You are removing one more phosphate. What will be the name of the enzyme? You are removing one more phosphate. What will be the name of the enzyme? बेटा आप remove कर रहे हो ना. ऐड करने वक्त काइनेस था बेटा. ऐड करने वक्त काइनेस था. You are removing ना पांडा. हम तो अब remove कर रहे हैं. Cycle is going reverse ना बेटा. Yes, पांडा is right. Yes, संचय. बेटा हम लोग remove कर रहे हैं ना phosphate. देखो glucose 6 phosphate में you already know we have phosphate at 6th carbon atom. But in glucose, we don't have any phosphate, right? We don't have any phosphate. So yes, it is phosphatase. When you are removing the phosphate, it is phosphatase, right? So remember, beta, it is glucose 6 phosphatase. It is glucose 6 phosphatase. बेटा अब साइकिल रिवर्स जा रही है ना. अब साइकिल रिवर्स जा रही है तो इट इज ग्लूकोज 6 फॉस्फेटेस. इट इज ग्लूकोज 6 फॉस्फेटेस. क्या इतना क्लियर है सब लोगों को? फटाफट से एक थम्स अप दे दो चैट बॉक्स के अंदर इफ दिस इज क्लियर टू ईच वन ऑफ यू. फटाफट से एक थम्स अप दे दो इफ दिस इज क्लियर टू ईच वन ऑफ यू. द रिएक्शंस बेटा, नाउ द थिंग्स आर गोइंग टू बी वेरी इजी नाउ. यस, राज, हर्ष, ऐश, आशीष, शुभम, लिपिका, अंशुल, कोमल, कुसुम, जयनाम, चिराग, नितिका, निकिता. Okay, very good beta. Perfect beta. So yes, Afzal, very good beta, very good. So now beta, you have to remember 2-3 points beta over here. Yes, 2-3 points regarding this. Remember beta, the rate limiting enzyme, the rate limiting enzyme okay in gluconeogenesis. Okay, the rate limiting enzyme in gluconeogenesis it is fructose. Yes, remember beta, it is fructose 1,6 bisphosphatase. Fructose 1,6 bisphosphatase. Okay, fructose 1,6 bisphosphatase, right? Apart from that beta, remember beta, one more thing, that gluconeogenesis. Okay, remember beta, gluconeogenesis will not take place. Okay, will not take place in skeletal muscles. It will not take place in skeletal muscles beta. Why? Because in skeletal muscles, yes, in skeletal muscles, remember glucose 6 phosphatase. Glucose 6 phosphatase enzyme is absent. Glucose 6 phosphatase enzyme is absent, and this question has been asked multiple number of times that you have to pay focus upon over here. अगर बेटा glucose 6 phosphatase absent है, अगर glucose 6 phosphatase absent है, तो glucose 6 phosphate से glucose कभी नहीं बन पाएगा. glucose 6 phosphate से glucose कभी नहीं बन पाएगा. Okay, So I hope this point is also clear. So in skeletal muscles, basically glucose 6-phosphatase enzyme is absent, and that's why, yeah, it gluconeogenesis will not take place in the skeletal muscle. In the skeletal muscle. Yes, yes, beta. So I hope this is clear to each one of you. I hope this is clear to each one of you, beta. I hope this is clear to each one of you. फटाफट से एक थम्स अप दे दो जल्दी से चैट बॉक्स के अंदर. चलो आशीष लोहार, ऐश, हर्ष राज, वेरी गुड बेटा. जयनाम, वेरी गुड, वेरी गुड. यस यस. धोनी शुभम, वेरी गुड बेटा. लिपिका अब्रार, वेरी गुड, वेरी गुड, वेरी गुड. चल, अब हमने एक चीज तो देख ली कि पाइरुवेट से कैसे बनाते. तो यू ऑलरेडी हैव सीन. यस, ग्लूकोनियोजेनेसिस, ग्लूकोनियोजेनेसिस फ्रॉम पाइरुवेट. किससे बना रहे हैं? पाइरुवेट से. फ्रॉम पाइरुवेट, राइट. एक सोर्स तो कंप्लीट हो गया, एक सोर्स तो कंप्लीट हो गया बेटा. Now we will take the another source. Now we will take the another source, and that is something which, yes, you have to remember over here, and that is something which is called as Cory's cycle. Yes, that is something you have to remember over here. It is Cory's cycle. It is Cory's cycle. It is Cory's cycle. Okay. It is also called as the glucose lactate cycle. It is also called as the glucose lactate cycle. It is also called as the glucose lactate cycle. Now, beta, you already know, you are already aware of the fact that, okay, let me follow the color code. Otherwise, you guys will complain that I'm not using the color coding. Yeah. चल, इसका डायग्राम बनाते हैं, इसका डायग्राम बनाते हैं और डायग्राम बना के समझते हैं क्या हो रहा है. Now, beta, suppose this is the skeletal muscle. Yes, suppose this is the skeletal muscle, right? So yes, let me label it. It is the skeletal muscle. Okay, this is the skeletal muscle. Now the muscles which are attached to the bones, right? Everyone knows this, skeletal muscles, the muscles which are attached to the bone. Now, what will happen, beta? What will happen? You already, yeah, know. You already know whenever there is high exercise, okay, whenever you do okay, there is something which is called as normal exercise और एक होती है बहुत ज्यादा exercise कर लिया आपने, jogging कर लिया आधा घंटा. तो what will happen, beta? Exercising skeletal muscle, exercising skeletal muscle, what will happen, beta? There is not sufficient oxygen. There is not sufficient oxygen. Okay, अगर sufficient oxygen नहीं है तो it will undergo anaerobic glycolysis. It will undergo anaerobic glycolysis. You already know, if there is no oxygen or decreased amount of oxygen levels, then what will happen? Anaerobic glycolysis will take place. So you already know from glucose, beta. From glucose, what will be formed? Pyruvate. Okay, from glucose, whatever glucose is there, yes, whatever glucose is there in the skeletal muscle, it will form pyruvate. And from this pyruvate, what will be formed? Lactate. Why lactate will be formed, beta? Why lactate will be formed? Tell me guys in the chat box, why lactate will be formed? Yes, बताओ, lactate क्यों बनेगा? You already know what is taking place, beta. Yes, everyone is right. Nikita, Kulsum, everyone is right. Why lactate will be formed? Yes, everyone is right. Absence of oxygen, absence of oxygen, absence of oxygen. Now what will happen? This lactate, beta, this lactate will go into the blood. Now this lactate will go into the blood. Okay, this lactate will go into the blood vessel. You already know this is the blood vessel, and blood vessel can be arteries or veins, right? Now this lactate will be now transferred to the blood vessel. Okay, it will go into the blood also, and from the blood beta, from the blood, this lactate will now reach, yes, this lactate will now reach liver. This lactate will now reach, yeah, the liver. Now lactate is there in the liver now. Lactate is there in the liver. Lactate is there in the liver. Now you already know liver has one enzyme, that is lactate dehydrogenase. Okay. We have lactate dehydrogenase, and with the presence of this enzyme, the lactate will form a structure. Okay, will form pyruvate. Pyruvate will form pyruvate. Now, beta, in this, so this is the liver. You already know this is the liver, which I have beautifully drawn. This is the liver, right? Always try to label each and everything. Yes, Kulsum Abrar, very good, beta. Now, what will happen, beta? Pyruvate बन गया. Pyruvate अभी तो बनाया था मैंने. देखो ये pyruvate बन गया. अब pyruvate से, अब pyruvate से क्या बनेगा? What will be formed from pyruvate? Type in the chat box, beta. What will be formed from the pyruvate? जल्दी से बताओ चैट बॉक्स के अंदर. पायरुवेट से अब एंड प्रोडक्ट क्या बनेगा? हाँ, just try to answer in the chat box, beta. What will be the end product that I will get from pyruvate? Yes, what will be the end product? Yes, glucose. Glucose, very good, very good. Yes, glucose, very good. Nikita, Harsh, Panda, Chainam, very good, beta. So pyruvate say we will get glucose now. We will get glucose, and this process of conversion of like from pyruvate, no, glucose is formed, and this process you already know, this is gluconeogenesis. This is neogenesis, and this glucose will now travel into the blood vessel. It will come into the blood vessel, and it can again go to the skeletal muscle. It can again go to the skeletal muscle. So that's why, beta, it is also called as Cory's cycle. It is also called as Cory's cycle or glucose lactate cycle. So you can see from lactate, beta, in case of anaerobic glycolysis, how lactate is a non-carbohydrate source. Okay, non-carbohydrate source. ये carbohydrate तो नहीं है बेटा. So from lactate you are getting glucose, beta, in the liver with the help of gluconeogenesis. With the help of gluconeogenesis. So that is one of the second examples that we have talked about. That is, yes, yeah. You already know in the muscle, basically there is no further metabolism. Yes, there is no further metabolism in the muscle. No further metabolism. The muscle will get fatigue. Okay, lactase, this lactate will accumulate. The lactate will accumulate, and this muscle will get fatigue. Okay, muscle get fatigue. So I hope this is clear to each one of you. The glucose lactate cycle, beta, just give me a thumbs up in the chat box if the glucose lactate cycle is clear to all my dear students. Yes, Raj, Ashish, Riya, very good, beta. Ash, Raj Patel, very good, perfect, perfect, beta. So I hope this is clear to each one of you right now. Yes. Sure, perfect, perfect, beta, perfect. चलो ये तो क्लियर हो गया. अब दूसरी साइकिल पढ़ लेते हैं. देखो हमने लैक्टेट से बना लिया, पायरुवेट से बना लिया, तो हमने दो चीजें तो पढ़ ली. पायरुवेट हो गया, लैक्टेट हो गया. अब अमीनो एसिड्स पे आ जाते हैं. अब अमीनो एसिड्स की बात करते हैं. अमीनो एसिड्स की बात करते हैं, एंड दैट इज समथिंग व्हिच इज कॉल्ड एज, या दैट इज समथिंग व्हिच इज कॉल्ड एज glucose alanine cycle. We are taking one amino acid over here. Yeah, this is called as the glucose alanine cycle. Yeah, glucose alanine cycle, or this is also called as the Cahill's cycle. Okay, this is also called as Cahill's cycle. This is also called as the Cahill's cycle. So yes, I hope this is like way clear to everyone. Now we are going to discuss the Cahill cycle, right? We are now going to discuss the Cahill cycle. Yeah. Now, what is happening over here, beta? Let us just take the example. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Let us now see. Now see, beta, over here. We already know we have muscle. Okay. Now suppose this is the muscle, beta. Now suppose this is the skeletal muscle. Now, can anyone tell me skeletal muscle? Okay, skeletal muscle. It is made up of what? The skeletal muscle. It is made up of what? Can anyone tell me the skeletal muscle? कोई भी muscle किसका बना होता है? बहुत basic सा question है. बेटा बहुत basic सा question है. Skeletal muscle is made up of what? Tell me. चलो जल्दी से बताओ. Skeletal muscle देखो कोई भी muscle है. It is made up of protein. It is made up of protein. Yes. अरे बेटा. चलो ठीक है तुम तो पूरा घुस ही जाते हो बिल्कुल एकदम. स्केलेटल मसल इज मेड अप ऑफ प्रोटीन. प्रोटीन का बना होता है ना, मतलब बेसिक तो यही है ना. और प्रोटीन किसका बना हुआ है? अमीनो एसिड्स. अमीनो एसिड्स का. ओके, मसल इज मेड अप ऑफ प्रोटीन एंड या वी हैव अमीनो एसिड्स इन like yeah, the skeletal muscle is containing these amino acids also, right? So you already know, yeah, what is happening inside the skeletal muscle. You are very well aware we have glucose, beta. We have glucose in the skeletal muscle. Now this glucose, it is converting into pyruvate. It is converting into pyruvate, that is aerobic glycolysis. Now we are taking aerobic glycolysis. This is aerobic glycolysis. Aerobic glycolysis that is taking place, okay, in presence of oxygen. Now you already know the skeletal muscle will contain, yes, yeah, amino acids. Okay, the amine group will be there, yeah. So yes, yeah, you already know. Yes, you already know that in the skeletal muscles, what we will get next, it is the amine group. Yeah, right. It is the amine group, or amino acid will be added to the pyruvate. Okay, amino acid will be added over here. Yeah, the amine group. Yes, and what will be formed, beta? Yes, what will be formed, beta? A structure will be formed, and that is called as alanine, and that is called as alanine. Okay, alanine. Okay, and the structure will be formed that is called as alanine. Now this alanine, beta, this alanine, yeah, will now travel to the blood vessel. If this alanine will now travel to this blood vessel, so yes, this alanine will now come to this blood vessel, alanine, and you already know this is the blood vessel. Okay, blood vessel. Now this alanine will again transfer to one of the structures that is called as liver, because 90% of the gluconeogenesis, it is taking place in the liver. So remember that this alanine will now come into the liver. Yes. And this alanine will now break. Okay. It will now break into the amino group. Okay. The amine group and the pyruvate. Okay. The pyruvate. Pyruvate और ये जो amine group था. Okay. The amine group was there. Yes. Amine group लिखो सीधा. Yeah, the amino acids. Basically, they combine to form alanine. This alanine will go into the blood, and in the liver, it will now bifurcate into pyruvate and the amine group. Okay. Now again, beta, pyruvate बन गया है. From pyruvate, beta, what will be formed? From pyruvate, what will be formed? Tell me. From pyruvate, what will be formed, beta? Tell me in the chat box. Everyone. Yes. Yes, Abrar, very good, beta. It is the glucose that will be formed from the pyruvate, and this process, yes, everyone is right. Lohar, Jainam, सबके Riya, Sanjay, Harsh, Komal, Prince, very good. Lipika, very good, beta. And this process, it is called as gluconeogenesis. Gluconeogenesis, and remember beta, this glucose will now enter into the blood. It will now enter into the blood, and from the blood vessel it will go into the skeletal muscle, and from the blood vessel it will go into the skeletal muscle. So yes, that is also called as the glucose alanine cycle or the Cahill cycle beta. Yes, Divyanshi, very good beta. Usman, very good. So I hope this is clear to each one of you, क्योंकि पायरुवेट से ग्लूकोज कैसे बनता है बेटा, पायरुवेट से ग्लूकोज कैसे बनता है, आई हैव ऑलरेडी डिस्कस दिस, राइट, एंड ऑटोमेटिकली यू आर वेरी वेल अवेयर, पहले हमने एलेनिन यूज किया, लैक्टेट यूज किया, फिर डायरेक्ट पायरुवेट से भी बना के देखा, सो ऑल थ्री आर ऑलरेडी डन. तो इतना क्लियर है बेटा सब लोगों को, फटाफट से एक थम्स अप दे दो इफ दिस इज क्लियर टू ईच वन ऑफ यू, इफ दिस इज क्लियर टू ईच वन ऑफ यू, जस्ट गिव मी अ थम्स अप बेटा, जस्ट गिव मी अ थम्स अप. यस, क्यों बेटा मसल्स में ग्लूकोज कैसे नहीं आएगा, बॉडी में तो हर ऑर्गन में ग्लाइकोलिसिस होती है ना बेटा, ग्लाइकोलिसिस इज टेकिंग प्लेस इन ऑल द ऑर्गन्स, राइट, ग्लाइकोलिसिस इज टेकिंग प्लेस इन ऑल द ऑर्गन्स, राइट. हर एक सेल की नीड के लिए ग्लूकोज का रिक्वायरमेंट तो है ही. चलो इतना क्लियर हो गया सब लोगों को. अब एक चीज और बची, चलो ये तो अब तुम ही लोग मुझे बता दोगे कि सर आपने तीन तो डिस्कस कर दिए, हमने पायरोविक एसिड से बना के देख लिया, वी हैव like formed glucose from the pyruvic acid, from lactic acid, from amino acid. Okay, now the left part it is the glycerol, the left part it is the glycerol. Okay, चलो glycerol से भी बना लो, बट ये तो तुम मुझे बताओगे ग्लिसरॉल को हम लोग क्या बोलते हैं बेटा, ग्लिसरॉल इट इज द पेरेंट कार्बोहाइड्रेट, पेरेंट एल्कोहल, ग्लिसरॉल इट इज द पेरेंट एल्कोहल. Okay, it is the parent alcohol, right, it is the parent alcohol, or it is the polyhydroxy alcohol, polyhydroxy alcohol. We already know, yes, we already know it is the polyhydroxy alcohol, and you guys already know that the glycerol, okay, yeah, it is the polyhydroxy alcohol, yeah, and you already know, yeah, from glycerol beta basically two things are formed. Okay, we have dihydroxy acetone phosphate. This is the first class where I have discussed the chemistry of the carbohydrates, जहां पे मैंने आपको बताया था carbohydrates are aldehyde or keto derivatives of polyhydroxy alcohol. Okay, polyhydroxy alcohol, and we also get, yes, glyceraldehyde. Yeah, we also get glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Yes, we also get glyceraldehyde. Now you already know, yeah, we have, yeah, glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate is there, and dihydroxyacetone phosphate. ग्लिसरैल्डिहाइड में CHO ग्रुप है, डाइहाइड्रोक्सीएसीटोन फॉस्फेट में कीटो ग्रुप है. We know the keto group and the aldehyde group. Okay, this is the carbohydrates. ये carbohydrates बन रहे हैं बेटा, ये carbohydrates बन रहे हैं. Now glyceraldehyde, it is the parent carbohydrate. It is the parent carbohydrate. This I have already discussed in the first class. How the glycerol, I have shown you the reaction also. The very first video बेटा you have to go through, जहां पे मैंने ग्लिसरॉल से, okay, you already know, जहां पे हमने ग्लिसरॉल से, you are very well aware कि हम लोगों ने क्या बनाया था. Yeah, this is the structure of the glycerol. So yes, it is polyhydroxy 3 carbon compound, and from this we have formed dihydroxyacetone phosphate and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, right? And obviously बात है, glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate or dihydroxyacetone phosphate, they are coming from what? Glycerol. They are coming from glycerol. So now again guys, you guys are going to complete this now. You guys are going to complete this now. You already know we have, yes, over here I am highlighting in this reaction dihydroxyacetone phosphate and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Now they are not coming from, yeah, they are not coming from pyruvate. Now these two things are coming from, these two things are coming from where beta? These two things are coming from glycerol. Okay, these two things are coming from glycerol. Okay, and obviously the same reaction will go on, and ultimately what will be formed beta? At last glucose will be formed. Now this dihydroxyacetone phosphate and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, they are formed from glycerol. Okay, they are formed from glycerol, and that I have already talked about, right? I hope this is clear to each one of you. I hope this is clear to each one of you. Beta, just give me a thumbs up in the, yeah, just give me a thumbs up in the chat box if this is clear to each one of you. Yes. Okay. Chalo, everyone is right. Raj, Ria, Ash, Ashish, Harsh, प्रियांशु, जैना, मंशुल, अबरार, वेरी गुड, अफजल, वेरी गुड, वेरी गुड, राज पटेल, वेरी गुड। चलो बेटा, अभी हमने सारा डिस्कशन तो कर लिया है। डेफिनेशन हो गया, एग्जांपल्स हो गए, कंसेप्ट हो गया, साइट, ऑर्गेनल, रिएक्शन सारी बता दी मैंने आपको, कोरी साइकिल, कैहल साइकिल, ग्लिसरॉल से कैसे बन रहा है। नाउ आई विल आस्क यू सम क्वेश्चंस। नाउ इट इज द क्वेश्चन टाइम। ओके, नाउ यू विल टेल मी बेटा, इफ द बॉडी, चलो कुछ क्लिनिकल क्वेश्चंस डिस्कस करते हैं। इफ द बॉडी इज इन फास्टिंग स्टेट, दिस क्वेश्चन हैज बीन आस्क्ड इन द एग्जाम। इफ द बॉडी इज इन फास्टिंग स्टेट बेटा, द लेवल ऑफ which blood amino acid will be rising? चलो इसका आंसर दो सब लोग। If the body is in fasting state बेटा, the level of which blood amino acid will be rising? चलो अभी बताया है कौन सा अमीनो एसिड से हमने रिएक्शन की थी बेटा, ब्लड में कौन सा अमीनो एसिड विल बी मोर। चलो जल्दी से बताओ इसका आंसर। यस, वेरी गुड अब्रार, इट इज एलेनिन। परफेक्ट बेटा, इट इज द एलेनिन। अभी तो बताया बेटा एलेनिन, एलेनिन, यस एलेनिन। एलेनिन ब्लड में चला गया ना, ग्लूकोनियोजेनेसिस हो रहा है, तो बेटा एलेनिन का लेवल अगर ब्लड में बढ़ा हुआ है, ओके, सो इट इज एन इनडायरेक्ट इंडिकेशन दैट the person means, yeah, gluconeogenesis is taking place, the gluconeogenesis is taking place. Ashish, Chirag, Usman, Lipika, Ash, Nikita, Divyanshi, very good beta, very good. Okay, now next question beta, next question. Okay, a child, okay, this was the question that has been asked, okay, in AIMS. It is AIMS November 2012. So a child with low blood glucose level, low blood glucose is unable to do glycogenolysis or gluconeogenesis. Which of the following enzymes, yes, which of the following enzymes will be absent beta? Which of the following enzymes will be absent? So the options here are fructokinase, glucokinase, glucose 6 phosphatase, or like, okay, take one, trans ketolase. So I want every one of you to answer this question beta. If Chirag says glucose 6 phosphatase, even Abrar also agrees with Chirag, Amira, okay. Komal, Ria, Lipika, Ashish, Jainam, Harsh, Raj, very good beta. Obviously I'm telling you, if it is not able to do gluconeogenesis, the key enzyme that is absent over here, it is glucose 6 phosphatase. It is glucose 6 phosphatase. It is glucose 6 phosphatase. Yes, I hope this is clear to each one of you. Today's class is clear to each one of you beta. Try to learn from the start, okay, where I have discussed the formation of carbohydrate from glycerol. Very first class बेटा, पूरा रिएक्शन करके बताया है, एक एक रिएक्शन करके बताया बेटा मैंने आप लोगों को। आप प्लीज गो थ्रू दैट लेक्चर, ओके। और यहाँ पे तो मैंने सारा ग्लाइकोलाइसिस, जिसने मुझसे पढ़ा है तो उसके लिए ये सारे प्रोसेस आज के बहुत ईजी है, सारे प्रोसेस बहुत ईजी है आज के, क्योंकि आई हैव डिस्कस्ड ईच एंड एवरीथिंग इन डिटेल बेटा। और मैं तो सब कुछ दोबारा से लिखता हूँ, ताकि आप लोग को इजी हो जाए. So today we have discussed beta gluconeogenesis, the definition, the non-carbohydrate source. Four sources we have discussed: amino acid, lactic acid, pyruvic acid, yes, and glycerol. Why body needs gluconeogenesis, the concept, okay. What are the sites, what are the organelles, okay, what are the parts of the cell, that is cytosol and mitochondria, right? How glycolysis and gluconeogenesis are different, just I have reversed the steps, right? After that, the rate limiting enzyme and the place where the gluconeogenesis is not taking place due to an absence of glucose 6 phosphatase enzyme, right? Apart from that, Cori cycle, glucose alanine cycle, and from glycerol we have already seen, apart from the clinical questions that we have discussed right now. I hope it's clear to each one of you, beta. I hope it's clear to each one of you. Yes, chal. So let's meet tomorrow with a new topic, guys. Before that, please just try to complete all the lectures that I have done. All the lectures that I have done. Goodbye. Goodbye, beta. Goodbye. Amira, beta, every day I'm taking the class. Yes, every class you will be intimated about in the Telegram group. The Telegram link is there in the the comment section, or I think in the description of this particular class. So every day, same time, 6:30 p.m. I'm taking this biochemistry class, and in the morning, beta, I'm taking anatomy. I'm taking anatomy. So it's very much essential if you can you can attend both the sessions and prepare your notes simultaneously so that it would be a help in your further classes as well. Right? Sure. Okay, beta. Bye.